Hey rockers, very good afternoon. We are here in, as you can see, Florianopolis, Sierra Bravo Foxtrot Lima, my hometown, where I was born a couple of years ago, right? A bit more than that, maybe. And we are seeing this beautiful Boeing 787-8 in the Boeing Business Jet version with this nice livery. It has, and this is important, an American tail number, November 7 something, and this could allow us to do a different route. I'm going to talk about it briefly. But anyways, this is the fourth leg of our world tour, and I want to make it as realistic as it can be. Just as a disclaimer, if you will, uh, of course, not everything can be done here exactly as in the real life. This is not instructing video or anything like that. It's just an opportunity to share with you guys uh, some details of the 787 operation that could be used in the simulation. There's a lot of glitches, there's a lot of bugs, especially in the quality wings model and in the flight simulator itself. So let's not be too hard on it, okay? I'm gonna try to do this the best way I can, but of course there are limitations, and we are gonna try to highlight some of them during the video. So this last leg is from Florianopolis to Hamad International. It's going to take about 15 hours. It's a very long one. I'm just going to, of course, show you guys in this video the departure from Florianopolis. And there's also two things that I would like to comment before we start. The first thing is that we are, these aircraft specifically that we are using, it has a rating on the engine of 67,000 pounds. That's not much. Usually our rating is more than that, like 69.5. So this makes a difference also in the maximum takeoff weight of the aircraft. And the maximum takeoff weight of the 787-8 is typically 227.930 kilos, all right? So we're talking about 227,930. So we're talking about almost 228 tons. This model specifically, this BBJ, has only 206 of maximum takeoff weight, and our takeoff weight today is going to be around 220 tons. So it's going to be above the maximum takeoff weight of this specific BBJ, but it's going to be within the 787 general guidelines. So that's what we're going to consider. Okay, this is one of those waivers that we have to give. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do this flight. We would have to stop somewhere, like probably in the northeastern of Brazil, before continue. And I want to do a direct flight from Florianopolis to Hamad. Having said that, we can see two GPUs here. 787 is a very thirsty aircraft when it comes to electricity, and we need two GPUs. They are connected to the forward external power door, and we're gonna check this out as we get into the flight deck. Let's get there. It's a beautiful afternoon here in Florianopolis. So first things first, let's say we just got in the aircraft and maintenance just left the aircraft like that, and you do what you have to do when you get to any airplane, right? You're gonna check security stuff, like if there's anything in the flight that shouldn't be there. You're gonna check the equipment, if everything is within validity, emergency equipment, if they are all there. You're gonna check the documents of the aircraft, if they are valid, and of course you're gonna check the book of the aircraft, maintenance book, to see if is there any report of any malfunction that has not been solved, and even the solved ones. Sometimes it's nice to take a look at them to see what you can expect from your aircraft if something has been, let's say, repeated itself. These are very, very complex matchings, and they really have some details that can show up from time to time, and it's important to know about it, right? So once done that, we are clear to do our preliminary procedures. So the right seat pilot, usually the first officer, would start with that. So the first things you're gonna do, you're gonna start the inertial system, all right? We have two inertials in the 787, and you're gonna close the emergency lights. I'm just gonna check here because sometimes it doesn't go in the simulator. In the real life, it's easier. Emergency lights still showing here, which means that they are off, and they shouldn't be off, right? So the switch shows armed, but for some reason. Let's see now. Cool, now they are gone. We are good. So since we did this, we go directly to this page here. It's already there. You get to there, going to system, and let's say it's an NDE. I'm just going to system. It's going to show that, right? This is the first page of the synoptic, and it has a lot of good information. First, status message. You would have some status message here in the real craft, but there are some expected status message, especially when you have your inertia not aligned yet. And of course, we're going to check the hydraulics, no refueling needed, RPM on the APU, AGT, anything of that is all black because the APU is off. We are using the external power, as I mentioned before. Oxygen, we will check the oxygen for the crew here in flight deck. 1950 is a lot. This is in PSI. You have a table in the I've come to check how many liters that is and how much time it allows for 2, 3, and 4 crew in flight deck. Okay, but I can assure you that anything about 1200 is a lot, and 1950 is a really lot. So there's no issue in there. Liquid cooling also we're gonna check. This is the system that keeps the electrical power engines, very powerful engines, electrical engines that we have in the 7.8, and they get hot very easily. So they are cooled by a liquid system, and as you can see, they are very nice too. To check their temperature, you would have to go to a maintenance page, and we don't even have that here in the quality links. But anyways, usually we don't check that. We just go there if something happens. All right. So it's pretty straightforward. Boeing's trying to make very, very easy. It's a different generation aircraft. It's a much more updated aircraft if you compare, for example, with the 737 that I flew before. So you don't have to really worry about this. One thing here that's showing pounds, I'm just going to change for this is of course quality wing stuff too. So I'm just going to go to miscellaneous and change to kilo, because it's the unity I'm more used to. We have 91.5 tons of fuel. All right, so it's 91,500 kilos, which is of course 91.5 tons, and our gross weight is 237. This is too much. This is definitely too much. I'm gonna have to work on that, and I'm gonna work with that now. I'm gonna well, here it cannot make oh, okay, that's why, because I had saved already another airplane that was, let's see now how it is. I think now it's fine. Okay, yeah, I cleared this. I shouldn't have cleared, but anyways, I'm going to talk about it. So now we are there in the weight I told you guys about, 220 tons. All right. So once we did this, first off is going to do some secure stuff, check documents and all the stuff. The right, actually not just first off, anyone who's seated in the right, and the left seat pilot is going to start doing his drills, which is pretty much just, this should be armed already. But he's going to put the flight director on, traffic on, and check some stuff in his side. Check, of course, EFP and all this, if it's clear too, things like that. But I've done that. The first officer, which is going to be the pilot flying today, which is us, we're going to start doing our CDU pre-flight, which means we're going to insert in the CDU all the information that we need for a flight. CDU means display unit, control display unit, I think, yes. And people call it FMS, but it's the RFMC. This is not the FMC, the actual FMC. The actual FMC is in the eco bay, which is below the forward galley. Here is just the information, all right? The 787 has 3 flight management computers, and they are, changing all the time which one is being used and which ones are the backup ones. But anyways, they are shown here pretty much directly but this is just a screen and just a way of put things in there, but they are not physically here. Like in previous models, if you see triple, the 7.6, the 7.3, they have a kind of a box, which is the FMS, and you can FMC, and you can take it out. And here in the 787, that doesn't happen. You can use this screen anywhere in the cockpit, and you would be able to mess with it anyways. So there was a message here about the validity of the data of the IRAC, which is the data of navigation data. It's gone, so it helps us to show up that. But of course, one of the first things you do, usually we leave the aircraft in the ident page, because first thing the guy who's going to sit here is going to do, he's going to check the model if it's correct, 787-8. If the engine is correct, the GNX 1 Bravo 67, the B is because it's Boeing, and 67 is because it's 67,000 pounds. To be honest, like I told you, this is less than usual. Normally we have 70 tons on the 787, and that's why this one has a lower, this is one of the reasons why this one has a lower maximum takeoff weight. We're gonna have this issue later in the onboard performance tool, and I'm going to show you when we get there. Then you check this, if it's according to the numbers. It's a pretty new aircraft, everything's 0. And then we put the airport we are at, which in this case is Florianopolis, my hometown, Sierra Bravo Foxtrot Lima. And of course, it shows this, the center of the airport, if you will, which is different from our real position. Not much different, but it's different. So you would have to copy this here, but in the real life you can do it. Here in the simulator you can't. So no big issue there too. We're gonna put Florianopolis again here as the orange, and then our destination is gonna be Hamad International in Doha. And the first things first, actually I should get the 80s, and we'll get the 80s. And this happens to all airplanes, right? So information echo, let's see what it is. Good, so we have information echo, that's what we would tell tower about. And the winds 148 with 11, which is runway 14, headwind beautiful. Temperature very good, 24 degrees. The altimeter 2991 is dropping, it was 2994 before. So bad weather should be on its way to Florianopolis, but we're gonna leave before that. And we're gonna check here, of course, what we have. It's in Florianopolis should be hectopascals, but anyways, 2994, so 2991, and I'm gonna put back. So yeah, it's pretty close to the standard, right? 1013. Good. So we know it's runway 14, and our flight is called Whiskey Tango 004, because it's the World Tour 004, the fourth leg of the World Tour. And the route request you can do by data link, and here in this case we have it saved in our computer. Let's see if it's there. Good, it's here, Florianopolis, Doha. You see? So I retrieved this route, and you can see the route is all here already. Let me just check. Yes, this. I'm just gonna take out this restriction, 5,000 or below. I'll tell you why. Because let's say the airspace is pretty empty, right? And this usually would be happening like that. Did we have this restriction because we have arrivals over it? But at this time, nobody's arriving at Florianopolis. The tower would probably clear us to go straight to our initial flight level, or at least for a higher altitude where we can contact the center or the approach, whatever. But I wanted to clear this out so I don't have an extra stuff to do when flying manually the aircraft. And when we fly manually, we overload the guy which is sitting next to us. That's why we don't fly too much manually. That's one of the reasons, because there's a lot of them, and nothing is very simple here in aviation. But That's one of the reasons why we don't fly much manually, to not overload the colleague that's flying with us. Here I'm just gonna put then the heading of the runway, and here our initial altitude. For this weight, I would say 370. Let's say we filed a flat land to 370. All right. Here you have options: auto or 1000. Auto is go by hundreds, and 1000 of course go by thousands. And I'm gonna activate our flat land. All right. And it has a departure, has a arrival, has everything, I think. Let me see. There's a discontinuity here. Let me fix it. Good. And yeah, let me see if it's right. No, it's not right. There's 157 lagmans here. I don't know why. Richard Lagman, ILS 34, right? If I am 1 echo, just put it back. Let's see how it is now. Okay, now makes much more sense. Alright, give it us 7,499 miles. We are arriving there at almost 10 Zulu tomorrow, which is pretty far away, right? We're talking about, let's see, if we take off at 30, it's probably not gonna happen. At 40, 20 minutes, then 19, it's gonna be 520 plus 10, 15, 20 minutes. All right, that's what we're expecting. There's something else we're gonna do before that. We come here in the performance initial page, and we place the numbers that we need for our flight. Here I'm just gonna put 2000. I don't think it's gonna make a big difference in this simulator, but in real life it would help to calculate best fuel, you know, during the arrival and anything. So now it's showing 8.8 on arrival, which is good, and 9.57. There's something else we're gonna do. It's showing the wind here. I'm not sure if the wind is already uploaded, but I'm gonna work on that soon. So we finished this. The second thing we have to check if it's finished is the fuel. So the fuel is done. So I can put my seatbelts on. So the cabin crew doesn't have to worry about the refueling going on anymore, because it has been done. It's finished. The maintenance will call us, the engineers will call us and say, okay, just confirm the fuel 91.5, and we check here 91.5. Sometimes the number doesn't match. We wait until it matches, and then we clear them to disconnect the fuel nozzles. But okay, it's already refueled. And since we have this done, and we have the zero fuel weight, which is 129.2, is a very low zero fuel weight for this aircraft. So I would say something around 13. This one is a heavier aircraft because it has all these BBJ stuff, you know, it has rooms and suits and beds and sofas and everything. So all the furniture. So let's say this aircraft weighs around 120 tons. We are carrying only 9.2 tons of load, which is very few. I would say something like 10 people tops. Okay, so it's pretty empty. It's not fair to compare to any other aircraft. Our consumption is going to be very, very low. But anyways, we're just taking off with 220, which is pretty close to the maximum altitude this aircraft can go, and climbing to 370 with 220 tons on a 787 is a good deal. And you're going to see we're going to spend as much fuel as a 767, 100 tons lighter. It's really amazing. Okay, so we got this. We're going to get to the winds. I have some ways of doing it in the rear aircraft. Here in the quality wings, the only way we can do is this one. We go to legs, route data, and request. It's requesting. When the winds come, they show W here. Alright, the winds are here. We can load them. So you see, winds are checked. We put execute, and we see if anything changed. Good. We made 700 kilos more, but we arrive a bit later at 10 Zulu. All right, no problem. It's good numbers. I'm happy with that. So from here, we finish this. We would ask our colleague to check it out if it's all set, if he agrees with everything, that thing, and we will do our drills. Okay, so we just come here. Battery is already on. It shouldn't be. Usually is off at this point. And then check all these lights are off, on drive, see, on, off, because the generators are not being used. We are using the external power, and the EPU is off. And then we come here, everything set in here, everything off here too. Check this too, cargo file, yeah. We don't have to test them, they have been tested by maintenance. And if we had any problem, we should have put humid on. I would leave these on too, because otherwise we have a fault error, a fault message that happens only in pilot trainings, doesn't happen in real life, but I'm gonna leave that on. The packs are still off. I can put them on, although there's not much gonna happen because the ground power doesn't have really power to make them work properly. And let me just see if recycle funds are on too. Okay, no problem. And let's see. One thing you can do is can check the temperature. The temperature is pretty nice. It's not a very hot day today, so good. And then I come down here. Flight directors on, traffic on. I initialize my filtering flight back. I check here what I have. I should have toga, nova speeds, and TK is off. Remember these three things: toga, nova speed, TK is off. If I have that, it's because it's all good. Then I come here, check the oil. Quantity 21 is pretty nice. It's pretty full oil. It has been served, and then once you have 787 with oil in the engines, it can fly for 20 hours. So this is GE engines, okay? General Electric. We put the brakes in RTO. Here we would come to the checklist and do a reset. We put reset all. Let's see if it works, because yeah, it doesn't work. This is quality rings once more. Sorry for that. So he's not picking the fuel control switches, although they are off. So I'm just gonna circle them, and now he's gonna pick it. Good. We're gonna come back that later. And then I check here if the frequencies are right, if the transponder is like it should be in above. Since I'm gonna be doing a report on the right. In the weather radar, we should have another page. We don't have it, so never mind. And it's pretty much all done here. We can do the performance cross check. Performance cross check consists in what? We're gonna calculate the performance of the aircraft, and we're gonna cross check independently between the two pilots, so we make sure we are not doing anything wrong. So what we're gonna do is, since we already have the zero fuel weight is here, the fuel is here, the route is here, everything is here, we can pick the data from the computers and put into the EFB. So I'll just copy MSMC data. It's forcing 5 for some reason. I believe it's because of the weight, but let's just do you can see it copied the wind. Usually it doesn't copy the wind, but it copied the wind. This gives us 9 of headwind. Good. 24 degrees 1013, it copies that too, and of course it copies the weight and the CG. 220 716 and CG 19, and 787-8 Aeronautics 1 Bravo 767. The run is going to be 1.4, like we said. Thrust rating, I'm gonna put optimum. He's probably going to give you full, and the condition of the runway is dry. We're going to calculate that, and it's yellow here because, like I told you before, the maximum takeoff weight of this aircraft is 212, and we are at 220. But there's no problem. We're going to just use these numbers. It's conservative enough. Of course, if you lose an engine, it could be a problem, especially here in the flight simulator, because in FLN operas we don't have this hill here in the end of runway 14. Okay, it's not there. But flight simulator has this bug. It's been fixed a long time ago, but now I just re-downloaded and came with this problem. But no problem. This year we have flight simulator 2020 released, and it probably will come without this hill that shouldn't be there at all. So we're going to consider this number as valid, okay? So we're going to use flaps 5 acceleration height of 1500 feet, running to section 14 full, right? takeoff crossweight 220716 with 96.9 of N1 set, no select temperature, takeoff thrust full, V1 154, VR 159, AV2 165, VRF 30 143. So we check these numbers. If they are correct, then we can even send them to the computer, but I'm not going to skip things here. I'm just going to keep the right order so we don't lose ourselves while doing it. So I'll just request for the pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist, oxygen stats 100, and flight instruments heading 049 and 1013 showing 30 feet. Pre-flight checklist is completed. Now the guy's gonna start talking about, this is ready to release also. I would like to turn this off, but we couldn't. But there's no problem. When it comes to the action, you test here, okay? There's a couple of things that you do that you cannot do here in the simulator, but just for yourself. I'm gonna put the HUD down. You can see the symbology here already.
Sit back and relax, and I'll update you on our progress.
And all information is being shown, so you are seeing correctly. All right, this is very important. So we see the FMA here, we see the altitude, the speed type, and the pitch, of course, and even the minimap in the part below. And here you should put in the declutter mode. Yes, this is the declutter mode. I don't like the declutter mode. Many people love it, but I usually don't use it. It's another option. It's more clean. You see more stuff around. I rather use this symbology, which is roughly a reproduction of what we have here in the PFD. All right, so we are more familiar with that. I'm more comfortable with using it that way. All right. So once we have done that, now we can request, for example, for our data to be sent to the computer. So send to FMC, it comes straight to our flight manager computer, and then we do a cross check again. So one pilot would ask the values here, another pilot would read from the OPT, and he would confirm that these are the values that are shown. We already have done that. Flaps 5, we take off thrust full, CG 19, V1 154, VR 159, and V2 165. I'm just gonna accept. Sorry, there's an order. So I'm gonna put here 165, which is our V2. Since we're gonna use VNAV and LNAV in the departure, I'm just gonna put LNAV, VNAV, and on them. I'm just gonna accept, and now I'm just gonna check the thrust limit if it's showing takeoff full and climb is full also. Good, 96.9. And for our second or third cross check, I'm just gonna check here. Flaps 30 143. Flaps 30 143 is here. So good. Is another cross check just to make sure that we didn't do anything wrong. We didn't forget anything. All right. So usually the pilot monitoring, which is going to be the live seat today, it's going to take off in the legs page, and the pilot flying is going to take off in takeoff page, which is this one. All right. Good. So from there, we could ask our dear engineer if we're cleared to pressurize the hydraulics. So he would say, Captain, cleared to pressurize, and we ask that because of course when we pressurize the system, every surface here in the 787 is kind of without power now because it's a fly-by-wire aircraft, so it depends on the hydraulic power. And as you can see, even the elevons are downwards because of that. As soon as we put hydraulics on, they should come up. Okay, so if someone, let's say, is messing with that, the engineer is doing something here, and this comes up, it could, of course, make an injury or something more serious. So that's why we ask. And the second thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna ask him if we can put the APU on, or we can tell him, okay, we're gonna put the APU on now, and once the APU is online, he will be able to remove the external power. So I'm just gonna start the APU, all right, and we'll check here in the in the ICAS when the APU is coming. So as you can see now, the APU door is open, the air is coming into the APU, and once the APU has started, it's going to show here APU running. We wait for that, and you can see here that the APU is running, right? It's starting actually, not running yet. And you can see in another page here that APU is coming on. Of course, if the APU is also full authority digital electronic control, if the APU itself finds any problem with its normality, it will just quit and let us know about it. So the APU is running, and now the generators are available. We can ask the engineer to remove the external power, and he will remove. By the time he has removed, here it's going to show available. And when we change here, it shows available because now it's on APU. And now after it's available, he just removes it, and of course now it's nothing showing because the GPUs are gone. All right, beautiful. Having done that, I'll ask him if we can clear to pressurize the aircraft, and he can say, okay, clear to pressurize. So we start with this order to maintain the commonality with 777, remembering that 777 is the same license of same type rating, better saying, of the 787. So we're just gonna put the right demand on auto, wait for the lights go extinguish, and then the central pumps, same thing, and then the left demand, the same thing. Okay, now I put the fuel pumps on. One important thing, why is not showing here the low press? Because the APU uses it using fuel through the pump. Okay, and we know that we have fuel in center, but I'm just gonna show you guys where we check it. It's here. It shows fuel in center. So I'm just gonna put the center pumps on outside. Then I'm just gonna turn my transponder to this transponder mode, which allows if the airport has this ground monitoring of the transponders, you can see our position in the ground. It's a very nice feature. Many big airports in the world use that. In Brazil, I think only Galeão uses, but anyways. So here I'm just gonna put my trim here. Now it's matching both trims as shown here. Good. And I can request the before start checklist. So before start checklist, you're gonna see passenger signs, they are on. MCP V2165 heading 141, altitude 370. Takeoff speeds V1154, VR 159er, V2165. Silver flight is completed. It should show completed here. Let me check. That's what we do, right?
Any questions?
So send output, send FC, complete. I accept. For some reason, it's not showing completed here. Fallen is completed too. Execute. That's tricky. It should show completed here. I really don't know why it's not showing, because everything is set. Well, it might be because of this gross rate. It might be. I'm really not sure. But well, we checked, all the stuff is here, and so I'll consider it completed. Okay. And taxi off briefing. Well, we're gonna take up runway 14. We're gonna taxi here. We're gonna push back facing to the west, and then we're gonna turn left on Bravo. Do a small backtrack. I'm gonna show you here with this camera, is easier. We're gonna taxi to west, turn left on Bravo, and then from here we enter the runway 14 to backtrack and take off for runway 14. Okay, this is our taxi plan. For the takeoff emergency briefing below 80 knots, we will reject to take off for any abnormal indication. Between 80 knots and 1 only for fire, engine failure, particularly wind shear, or the aircraft unable or unsafe to fly. If the decision is to stop, we're gonna bring it to stop. Use the reverses according to condition, monitor RTO and speed brakes, and disconnect out the throttle, of course. Once we stopped, we will take a deep breath, analyze the situation, and see what we'll do from there. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, or if we can safely taxi back to the gate. All right. We do any no-normal or any memory items they are required for the situation. If approach view 1, we have anything and we decide to continue, we were gonna if we are in view 1, we have to continue. If it's something engine related, we will just follow the published SID here. All right. Of course, we're not gonna have an engine failure in this simulator, but just for you to know how we would do, we would take off and 400. We do nothing but raising the landing gear and canceling any auto warning during the takeoff. At 200 feet, AGL, the autopilot would become available. We probably would use it to avoid any extra workload. And at 400 feet, AGL, we would start identifying the failure and addressing the failure. If it's something that requires a memory item, we will do it. Otherwise, we will just wait until we get to a safe altitude to do the non-normal checklist. We are a lot higher than our maximum landing weight. Our maximum landing weight is 172.3. We are 220.7. So we would have to dump fuel to come back. And the only exception would be probably fire fumes. That will require us to come back immediately. Request vectors to runway 14. It's a beautiful day here in Florianopolis. It's all visual. We can come visually and land runway 14. All right. We set the ILS 14 just to make it easier, but there is no big issue with visibility. There is terrain around the airport. The MSA here is something around 2,000, 2,500. So we should be aware of that. So if we have anything, we climb to 3,000 initially, at least 4,000 to be safer, and then we come back. All right. And if it's not engine related, we just continue and do a hold somewhere and come back if we need to. Okay. If we lose an engine, it's a good idea to come back immediately too. You don't want to spend much time flying in one engine if you don't need to. You are close to the airport, just come back. Of course, we are certified for ETOPS 180 minutes. Some 787s are even more than that, but we will just come back because there's no need to use all our ETOPS capability unnecessarily. So taxi-off briefing is done. I'm gonna check with. Of course, we would ask any suggestions or questions from the other guy, but now we're flying alone, right? And I'm gonna request pushback and start up. Let's say the guy said, okay, clear to pushback and start up facing west, like I briefed. So I'm just gonna put the beacon on to advise everyone else that we are gonna start moving. So the beacon here is on, and we release the parking brake and start pushing back, facing west. We're not gonna fit into the ramp. This is a very small ramp. I'm gonna go through the route soon, after we take off, and show you.
Go ahead from cockpit.
Clear to start engines.
Roger. Clear to start engines. Start both engines.
Clear to start engines. So I'm just gonna start here. So right and left. We can start both engines in the 787. They are using electrical power. Remember, they're using this electrical power. And here it's a very tight ramp. So I'm not gonna wait until we get too much closer to the grass until we stop, and then we start with the turn, no problem. Okay, I'll stop here. Parking brake is set. Back to the cockpit. We can see the engine is starting. The auto start is happening. There was some load shedding here, but pretty much everything is online now. And 2 engines running, good, stabilized. We're gonna check here all off because now they are giving power to the aircraft. I can put my APU off. I don't need to transfer physically like you used to do in 737. I wait for 10 seconds because there's a bulletin about it, but anyways, I will not get into too much detail with you. Let's say the 10 seconds have passed. I ask for flaps 5 according to what we have in our takeoff page. Flaps 5. So I move the lever here to 5, right? And we wait until they reach 5 so we can do the flight controls check. Okay, 5s are set. We can then do our flight controls checks. You don't have to look at the synoptics if they are doing what you are doing. I'm just going to show you just for you to know what it is, but you don't have to look at them, alright? So now I'm going to move my rudder, as you can see. Another thing that synoptics shows us is what mode of the fly-by-wire we are using. And we are using normal mode, of course. It's a normal flight, no failures. Alright, so we have done that. We can request a before taxi checklist. So to do that, I'm gonna just start with the drills. We are gonna remove all the secondary engine indications. If something comes out of the normal here, it will pop up, so no problem. Okay, so if something goes out, boom, it comes automatically on. All right. I'm gonna do another recall just to check if we have the messages that we should. TCAS off, it's a message that we should receive. And just because I know the checklist is gonna ask that, I'm gonna take a look at my own TIs. It's all in auto, the wing and the engine on TI. So if the system detects ice, it's gonna come up automatically. Just put the lights here because it's easy to look. Yeah, let's keep them off, no problem. And the before text checklist. Before text checklist, anti-ice is auto, recall is checked, flight controls, we checked, and ground equipment, we look around, the engineer is long gone, we talked to him already. Ground equipment clear, before text checklist is completed. Now this is the time when we ask for the taxi clearance, and we put the taxi light on. It was already on, I don't know why, someone forgot about it. Yeah, you know, the presets from other flights, they stay there, it's annoying. Anyways, so as briefed, the tower gave us the clearance to go via Bravo. I'll put the terminals also. Via Bravo, and then holding short runway 14 at Bravo. As you can see, the 787 is moving by itself, even 67 pounds and even 220 tons, it's moving by itself. It's a really powerful aircraft, and it's in idle. I'm just gonna put a bit more of power so we can move quicker and make the turn. So as we are taxiing, we can do the other stuff, paying attention always to everything that's going around you, okay? So I'm just gonna put my weather on since I am the pilot flying. Turning here on to the right, and the captain would be the same. Would do the same. He would put that also because he's the pilot monitoring, and he uses his NZ in terrain mode. And here, remember, we're gonna do an oversteering. We always do oversteerings because it's a 60-meter long aircraft. Any long aircraft, you have to do that way. Less than 10 knots to turn right. So we wait until the yellow line is in our left shoulder, and then we turn. Remember, the nose wheel is 2 meters behind us, and the main wheel is 22 meters behind us. So we oversteered. We keep all of them over the yellow line. Beautiful. See, perfect. Looks perfectly over the yellow line. So you see from outside, this is what you have here, perfectly over the yellow line. and we never cross this. If you cut, oh, I follow the nose wheel with here, the main wheel would go like here over the grass. We don't want that, right? So this beautiful 787-8 is approaching the holding point. Let's say the tower has cleared us to take off. So I'm just gonna advise our cabin crew, put lights on, all the lights we are gonna use, strobe lights, landing lights, and they should be called like operating lights, runway lights, whatever, because landing lights looks like you use of them only for landing. And here transponder, of course, in the report position mode, TA array specifically, which allow us for traffic advisory and resolution advisory. We check the final, it's clear. Runway 14 is identified, and we will taxi to the takeoff position. Remembering we're going to do a short backtrack here before we do a 180 degrees turn and take off. So just an amendment, a short amendment to my briefing. I'm going to try to hand fly in the beginning of the flight until we are pretty much stable, there's not much to do, and then I'll connect the other power, okay? Good, so I'll ask you for the takeoff review. It's going to be Toga Toga, LNAV, VNAV, armed up to 370. Remember, all the information here is what matters, not what is in here. 370 from runway 14 with flaps 5, heading 141, completed. And before takeoff checklist, before takeoff checklist completed. So everything's set. Let's do the turn here. This is tricky too. Like I said, you can't be too short on the turn, otherwise your main gear is gonna go over the grass. We need 42 meters to do a 180 turn on this aircraft. In FLN we have 45. And the credit tunings model doesn't quite do it in 42 meters because we don't have the same kind of resources that we use in the real aircraft, like differential braking or full nose steering. You know, it doesn't really work like a differential thrust. So I'm gonna put some power here. So keep turning. It's really hard to do this. See, it doesn't turn as much as a real aircraft would, so we need more space. So theoretically you could do this without using the pad, but in real life you could, but here in the simulator it's much harder, but we're pretty much there. Beautiful, exactly over the center line. So everyone's ready. Just gonna punch my HUD correctly. So 40% is already there, and set takeoff thrust.
Check thrust.
Thrust ref. Remember, you read the FMA. He's gonna check my thrust.
Thrust set.
Set, good. At 80 knots, we go to hold mode. And now we are in the high energy portion of the takeoff. B1 rotate. Use pretty much all the runway. Positive climb, gear up. Increase the pitch here. Thrust rep, now speed, LNAV. Now I try to follow this crazy cue. Gear is up, good. Now you're passing acceleration height. Gonna drop my nose so we can, with the same amount of power, keep climbing. Actually the power is gonna drop too, because now we are from takeoff to climb. approaching position Akrat, where we're gonna turn to the left. So the flying cue is taking me to the left while we accelerate. Remember, 30 degrees banks is the maximum. Flaps 1. And flaps up. And I'll wait until I finish this turn so I can do the after takeoff checklist, okay? Very gently, come back. Good.
Autopilot on.
Autopilot's on.
Autopilot in command.
And we can check even the beautiful cities being left behind for a 15-hour flight. This is going to be a long, long flight. So just for you to check, the after takeoff checklist is completed. After takeoff is completed. Beautiful. And from outside, we are leaving. This lagoon is called Conheça Lagoon. Lagoa da Conceição. The scenery here in the flight simulator is really, really poor, but this gives at least an idea of the size of the island. We have 50 kilometers from the south to the northern point, and 10 kilometers from here in the east to the west. Pretty heavy, eh? The heaviest one I think I took off in real life was 206 tons. Today we've got 220, so it's 19.1 now. It's pretty heavy. Now we're approaching Punot. We're gonna turn to the right and maintaining there 2,750 feet per minute. 2,700 feet per minute now of climb. Approaching 10,000, we're gonna change. We're gonna let me just put this one too. Okay, we're going to turn off the lights, right? Now we are braking to the right, leaving our beautiful island behind. Was supposed to be there in April, of course it didn't go. The last time I went there was in September last year. Usually I go there at least 2 or 3 times per year. Sad that this year we couldn't go. And 10,000. Lights are coming off. And seatbelts also. Yeah, we don't have anything in front of us. It's good weather all the way. And we are climbing 370, 376 as recommended. Beautiful. No big deal there. Leaving the north side of the island, here is my neighborhood where it's beach. I spent many summers here. It's a beautiful aircraft, overflying a beautiful island, leaving it behind for a 15-hour flight. So for you to understand our route, now we accelerate to 320 knots, which is going to be our climb speed here, economic speed. I'm just going to show you the route. So we're taking off here from Florianopolis. We're joining the Upper November 857, go all the way here to the middle of the Atlantic. Here we're going to turn right to this point until we get into Africa over Dakar, I believe, and then we go all this way to Tunis, crossing here the Atlas Mountains and leaving the Sahara Desert to the right. And then here we're going to turn east over the Mediterranean Sea. We're going to overfly Crete, and this is the closest to Europe, as you will. We will get then over Cyprus. Here we're gonna turn right over Lebanon, and then Syria, and then Iraq, and then the Gulf with Bahrain, and arrive in Hamad International in Doha, Qatar. And this will happen in about, well, now it's 7:19. We are having our arrival at 10:32. So this is 15 hours and 30 minutes from now. Planning arrival with 7.8 tons of fuel. Now we have 9.3. Okay, see you around. Thank you very much for all you guys that have followed us in this world tour, and see you, of course, for the arrival there in Doha. Bye bye. Have a very good night and good flight.